talking about fracking and fragmentation in some of the most important areas that this state has. And the DEC bases their entire premise on the possibility that they can protect New York water, New York air, New York communities with regulation. It all hinges on the impossibility or less likely probability of transport of contaminants up to our aquifers. It's so far down there, it can't come back up. Well, in their 800-page SGEIS a year ago, we hired experts. Not experts from industry, the gas industry I should say, but experts who deal with the kind of contamination problems that we were worried about. We hired a hydrogeologist from Nevada who makes a living designing well monitoring programs on how to deal with contaminant transport in aquifers and underground. His summary of findings started out by saying, fracturing by injecting fluids into the shale will cause conditions that make transport of contaminants from shale to surface aquifers possible. The DSGEIS presents an erroneous analysis that concludes that contaminants in the shale are isolated and cannot reach near surface aquifers. A simple numerical analysis completed in this review demonstrates one conceptual flow pathway that would allow contaminants to reach overlying media. There are many other potential pathways. The transport may take decades or centuries depending on conditions, but will occur very quickly if contaminants reach a point of preferential flow. You've heard this before, people talking about natural fractures and lineaments, places where it's been documented you find methane in soil over lineaments, which means the stuff is migrating up. There's brine in the bottom of aquifers, which means it's migrating up. And you also heard the industry, when problems happened in Dimmock and other places in Pennsylvania, there's reports of methane in people's water from the late 1800s. Or there's reports of water, I've heard of people lighting their wells on fire a long time ago. Well, what does that mean? That doesn't just mean that methane was there in everybody's well all the time and nobody happened to notice that their garage
Do you think he's been meeting with the gas industry?
Yes!
We know that the gas industry is extremely politically powerful. They've given $370 million just lobbying over the last 10 years to members of Congress. They gave the Natural Gas Caucus $1.7 million in campaign contributions. Those were the 83 members of Congress that the gas industry bought to sign a letter to the Interior Department not to disclose the chemicals being used on public lands. We know this is a powerful industry. We know that there was an article today that the industry is actually putting pressure on the New York Times because they are opening the debate about fracking. This gas industry thinks they're above government, they're above democracy, they're above safety of the people, and that they can get anything they want. You know, there's a difference between being a good politician, and we know that Governor Cuomo is a very good politician. He prides himself on making deals, concessions, trades, compromises. That's different than being a leader and taking a stand. He needs to be a leader because we've had 12 studies over 18 months that show how devastating fracking is. From the 1,000 cases that have been documented of water pollution to the methane that's being released in the air in places like Dallas-Fort Worth and all the other chemicals like formaldehyde and benzene, so that a city like Dallas-Fort Worth from the fracking now has more pollution, air pollution from fracking than from all of the vehicles in Dallas-Fort Worth. Wyoming, 25,000 wells didn't meet the Clean Air Act standards. What's going to happen to New York City? Maybe the governor protect the watershed, all of that pollution is going to go south. So we're here to tell the governor, we can't be bought. He's basically banned fracking in the watershed of New York City and Syracuse. Why can't he ban it and protect the whole state? A ban is what we need. Are we going to work harder, faster, and do more organizing around the state? We were going to get a ban, and Governor Cuomo needs to become a real leader.